everybody, and welcome back to some Black Ops Cold War. I decided to make a little bit of a guide for Cold War since Cold War works a bit differently than the past versions of zombies modes that we're used to, so I'd figure I'd just go through it quick and tell you how it usually goes down. This game can be easy if you play it correctly, but it can also be very hard with some of the stuff that can happen in the game. Basically, just playing it more, you'll learn how the game works a bit better, but I'll just tell you how it works just to get a better understanding. So right off the bat, it's changed with create a class, and it's not like before where you can have a couple weapons that you can bring in, maybe pack a punch them later on. But in this game, you start with a loadout, which comes with any gun other than the wonder weapons and an ability. And usually you're going to want to bring like Ether Shroud for your ability. I actually like Frost Blast a lot. Frost Blast is really nice for killing hordes and just kind of saving you in certain situations. I was actually using Healing Aura in multiplayer, and that's actually a really good ability if you level that up. You can just revive your teammates from wherever you are on the map. And it could still save you pretty well from some scenarios. And Ring of Fire is probably the funnest to use. I noticed it's really good if you have pretty much any weapon against the Megaton, and it just absolutely annihilates it. So pretty much recommend all of them except Energy Mine. As for a weapon to bring in, everybody's been pretty much hailing the Gallo as the best weapon because it's so easy to kill the zombies. It's really nice to get headshots off of. And you can put some attachments on there to make equipment drop a little bit more, and it makes it a bit more easy to start the game out. Other than that, the start of the game is not too much different than what we're already used to. You open the first couple of doors up, maybe you hit the box. Usually I do hit the box because you can get some pretty good rarity weapons out of there, but I always try to get the teddy bear because that teddy bear is going to be able to spawn fire sales later on, which then when you hit the box, then you're going to be getting some really good guns in the later 20s especially. So pretty much just hit the box, and then when you get the box to move with the weapons that you currently have, pick one of those and try to work with it throughout the whole game. In the gameplay you're seeing right now, I chose to keep the FFAR after I got the box to move. For the second weapon, I just kind of switch it out as the game goes on. This is why I'm saying the fire sales are really useful, because you're going to be trading out weapons from the fire sales in this slot. The other weapon you're just going to keep the whole game. You could also use your create a class weapon, and you can just upgrade the rarity of that when you get to the station to do that. It's a very viable strategy because you put your own attachments on there, and it's really hard to get the attachments that you want to just randomly, so it's definitely a viable option. The downside of that though is that you're going to be using your green salvage, which you're not going to be getting your shield as fast, or you can just have a weaker weapon and then get the shield in case you want some extra protection right away. But basically getting a better rarity of a weapon is just going to save you scrap and salvage, so keep that in mind. As for your points, what you're going to actually want to do with that after you open up all the doors is usually, if I'm not too worried about the Megaton spawning in and absolutely wrecking me, I won't pack a punch just yet. But I'll always get Jug first. Jug is still kind of a crutch to have. Pretty much just makes it so that you don't instantly die to the Megaton. Other than that, Stamina Up is really good to avoid the zombies, just to kind of save your armor, try not to take as many hits. And also the quick revive regeneration of the health is really good. So I highly advise you upgrade quick revive, but I mean, do Jug first, but quick revive after. And if you want to, and you're still feeling safe, if you need like speed cola to speed up your reload, if you got like an LMG or a shotgun or something, or even if you want to get elemental pop just to get a little bit more damage, because might as well, go ahead, do that. But just know that you will be needing the pack-a-punch. That pack-a-punch is going to be helping you kill a lot more zombies and the Megaton, obviously. Speaking of the Megaton is a huge oppressive force in the map, and you're going to want to know how to deal with them. He's going to be spawning in every like 3 or 4 rounds, so even on those higher rounds, he's going to be super hard to kill, and you're definitely going to need something to be able to kill him well. And like I said, a pack-a-punch weapon helps with that, so I'd get that as soon as you possibly can. But the safest route to go with this is just to bring a Gallo. I mean, the Gallo just absolutely annihilates him. If you don't want to be using the same weapon over and over again, that's fine, but I mean, out of all of them, I'd prefer the Gallo. The Megaton usually spawns at the beginning of the round, so he's going to be spawning with all of the other zombies, which at that point it's really hard to deal with because he's kind of slow and he's not as fast as the zombies, so the zombies are always going to be catching up to him. So what you're going to want to try to do is to single out the Megaton and try to avoid the zombies, because if you kill all of the zombies, you're eventually just going to be ending the round and you still got a Megaton. Usually you're going to be killing the Megaton between the rounds if you do decide to do this, but if you still don't have a decent weapon, it could still be very hard. If you still don't have a reliable weapon at this point, I'd highly advise you use the equipment that drop from zombies. Personally, I think the monkey bombs are the best tacticals. Decoy grenades are still really good, and stim shots can help you in a pinch if you need it. Stun grenades are pretty good for getting points, but I mean, that's pretty much its only use. As for the lethals, any lethal can do anything. I prefer either Molotovs or Semtexes, mainly Semtexes though, because you can hold more of those. Molotovs, you'll definitely be able to burn more zombies, but with Semtexes, you just get more. But feel free to use really anything. Tomahawks aren't going to be really killing that many zombies. It'll only kill one at a time, but it still can be used to get some points. And if you're forced to buy a weapon off the wall, the Gallo's always going to be a good option. The Gallo can kill the Megaton very fast, but I also think some viable options is the MP5. The MP5 is actually very good. M16 later on will actually do really well. I noticed that tactical rifles are actually really good in this game, so I would not sleep on them. And the Krig 6 down in the particle accelerator room is actually pretty good if you're landing your headshots. And then once you get your weapon, you're basically just grinding out the game for some points and some salvage. Eventually in the early 20s, if you have a blue weapon, you're going to be able to upgrade that to purple rarity. And at this point, you should also have it double packed. And if you're looking for an alternate ammo type to use, really any of them are viable. They all work in different ways than they used to. Firebomb activates fairly frequently and does overtime damage to zombies. Deadwire will stun one zombie in place and creates a large radius where other zombies will take damage over time. Cryo Freeze is really good for freezing one zombie in place if they're in your way, so it's probably good on a shotgun. And Brain Rot's probably the best if you're playing with multiple people, since all the zombies are going to be scattered around. But for solo, I'd probably recommend the Napalm Blast or the Deadwire effect. Generally, the kind of area that you want to be training in is around the crash site. I usually like to, but you need somewhere open where you can backtrack on the zombies you just killed to pick up all your salvage and scrap. That's going to be crucial if you're trying to get your weapon upgraded. So the main way I train around the crash site is I kind of train in the open area next to the plane ring when you go into the bunker initially. And from there, you're going to want to backtrack through Jug and through the plane, and then that's the point where you can shoot back at your zombies, and there's just going to be a whole line of them. And then you can kind of go around the rock and then pick up all the salvage there, and then you can shoot again at the zombies when you're going back to that big old training spot. This spot is a little risky though, since there are spawns really close to the edge. The general kind of plane wing bunker open area is not too bad because there's not a whole lot of zombie spawns that are there. But when you're backtracking towards the plane, that's kind of where the zombies spawn, so you want to look out for that. If you want to just kind of train in a general area without thinking too much, the starting room is a really good place. I see a lot of people using that. The structures in that area is just small enough to maneuver around them, but it won't screw you over, so I think it's really nice. The problem with these two training spots is that they're very hilly, so it's really hard if you're going for headshot challenges. If you are trying to get headshots, I recommend the bottom of the particle accelerator room. That's actually a pretty good place to train if you know what you're doing. It's a little bit harder, so be cautious of that. But it's also really nice because if you need armor, then the armor station is just right there. And that's the same for Pack-a-Punch if you want to Pack-a-Punch real quick. Although when the Megaton comes in this spot, you're going to want to immediately go to the top because it's not a safe place to be with the Megaton around. Of course, if you get lucky enough to get a wonder weapon out of the box, like the ray gun, or if you want to just get the die out of the side quest, it will help you a lot to upgrade your main weapon because you're going to be building so many points and you won't even be needing to worry about your main weapon that you're leveling up. If you actually go down or just needing some ammo in general, you can go into dark ether mode and you can break crystals around the top area of the map where you're training around and stuff, and you can actually break those crystals and you could get self revives out of those, but you can also get some weapons. I actually got myself a legendary Howler one time, which was really useful. Occasionally perks drop from those. There's some ammo that comes out. There's armor. Sometimes you'll get essence too. So I definitely recommend traveling into our Dark Ether and breaking those crystals. Once you farm enough points to level up your weapon to level 3, you can pretty much just build up more points and wait to level up another weapon. Or if you don't have all your perks, you can go grab those perks real quick if you'd like. Some games I don't even grab Deadshot because the only effect that you get base thing is just aiming to the head, and sometimes that's not the biggest advantage. But if you level up Deadshot and you get to the level where you can actually upgrade it with Ethereum crystals, it becomes actually a pretty good perk. If you haven't gotten a good weapon from the fire sales yet in your second slot, once you build up enough points, you can head to the box and try to get yourself a legendary weapon. And then with that legendary weapon, whatever it is, usually any weapon in this game is pretty good, so you don't have to worry about it unless it's like a pistol or something, obviously. Once you've upgraded that last weapon, you're pretty much set from there. A thing to remember though about high rounds is that zombies will actually be doing more damage to you, especially if you don't have armor on. If you don't have armor, it's going to tank your health really fast. And also when the Megaton spawns in, it will just probably completely demolish your armor. So you'll need a good weapon to be able to kill the Megatons really quickly. If you don't have a weapon to kill the Megatons quickly, I do recommend the crossbow that you can build. The War Machine is decent too, but just so you know, either which option you use, you can kill yourself very easily with those. Even with the crossbow, like there can be a plague hound that just jumps right in front of you and completely cucks your shot, and then you just end up shooting yourself, and you could die very easily with that. But at this point, if you just kind of train around and try to stay alive as long as you can go to some pretty higher rounds. But if eventually you do want to evac, I would definitely get a weapon to kill the Megatons really quickly. The bow and the war machine won't be too reliable because you're going to use that up and then it'll be gone, and then you won't have anything to kill the Megatons with unless you're really confident with the weapon that you have. In the much later rounds, like in the 50s, you're going to be getting so much blue scrap that you're just going to be able to get a wall gun, and then you're going to be able to go to the upgrade station, instantly get that to the legendary rarity, and if you have enough points, you're going to be able to level it up just instantly in the pack-a-punch. Also, for killing hordes, I strongly recommend monkey bombs because monkey bombs actually do a lot of damage. And you're probably going to want some semtexes with that because monkey bombs might not completely kill the whole horde. So if you just throw a semtex in there really quickly, it should kill them off pretty easily. And of course, having a weapon that kills off hordes really fast does not hurt either. If you are wondering what weapons you actually want to use, I'm going to be having a video coming out where I upgraded all the guns as max as you can go with them. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you want to subscribe, that would be cool. Then you get that video in your sub feed and then you can go watch it. That's epic. We like that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope this helped. I've been liking Cold War a lot recently. I've been playing a lot of that. My highest round so far is level 50. I tried to exfil, but I didn't have a thing to kill the Megatons, so I kind of died. But surviving in this game just to high rounds is actually really fun to do, and I'm kind of happy how it is. So yeah, if you guys like this video, like the video. If you like my other videos, make sure to subscribe. But other than that, I'll see you all later, and bye.